It's another 4th Art Saturday video hop organized by Meridel Abrams. Please follow the description box below for the links to the other crafters and artists. To infinity and beyond, this month's theme is the stars, the galaxy, the universe. Come journey with me. Hello survivors, hi family and friends. This is Roy from Bootsie Sweettarts Guide to Life and Other Disappointing Experiences with another 4th Art Saturday video hop project. This project is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I wanted to try making something out of fabric that is originally an origami design. And I came up, because of the theme, which was perfect, with a Scandinavian Star. Isn't this beautiful? I did it in contrasting colors so you could see it. It's very versatile, has a lot of uses, but I'm going to make it with the fabric. So let's see how I start and where it ends up. Well, this project is more of a demonstration than a tutorial. We start out with 4 pieces of paper, strips. In this case, they're 12 by about 3/4 of an inch an inch. There's no exactness in the way I do these things. So sort of fasten your seatbelts. You fold them in half with leaving a little tiny bit of paper showing, uneven. And I put together a little diagram to help me position the strips of paper. You'll see there's a fold, and then there's the loose ends, the raw ends. Now I lay the 4 pieces just the way the diagram shows, and I marked where the folds are. And now we're going to create a square by putting the raw edges into the fold of each strip. So the pink one, red one goes into the fold, and you'll see where the fold is marked on each to see how the orientation is. Now this goes over. Now you see there's a fold sandwiched. The one strip is sandwiched in. There's the raw edges and a fold, and here's the last one. And that all connects them and secures them. Some people will put glue in, a little dot of glue to keep everything together. This was not necessary for this one. Now you'll see how tight that is. We turn it over, and now this is where it gets interesting. Going counterclockwise, we fold only the top half of the strip over. So that strip has continued on both sides of the square. Pull it tightly, but don't force it. You want all the folds to be right up against the other strip. You'll see there's like slits. The last one, to lock it in completely, we put into that slit. Now there's a kind of like a front and a back, but I don't think of it that way. I just keep watching where the slits are, and that determines which piece of paper will get pushed under the other. Now we're turning it over and folding at a right angle, making a little 45-degree angle. Could be a little bit more exact. Now there's no slit here to put the paper in to hide the raw edge. So we turn it over, and you'll see, even though it's an optical illusion there's a slit to put the raw edge piece, the end with the raw edge, into that slit. Now we fold again back parallel to form like an arrowhead. Okay, now you'll see that orangey color. The blue strip will stick out of that orange if we leave it that long length. So I cut it in the shape of an arrow just to make it a pointed shape, just to make it easier to feed into that slit. Now turn it over, do it again to the pink side, looking for that slit, and there it is. Not really the front side, but that's what I'm calling it. Now you'll see this one is short already. It should be the right length, but just to make it easier to feed in, I give it a little bit of a point. And it's already starting to take shape. Again, always folding the first fold away from the center. There's the slit. Trimming it. There are so many versions of this online. Some people make it very, very confusing. I just go with it and sort of measure and cut as I go along. There are all kinds of measurements given. The measurements really come into play when you convert this to a fabric, because you want the right side of the fabric to be on both sides of your strips so that the star looks the same on back and front. So you keep going like this all the way around. If you want to slow this down or stop and follow along, please do. And there it is. There we have the stars. Now I've made a bunch of them to practice. I haven't done these in a long time, so I wanted to practice. This is the one I showed you in the beginning. This one is made from 1-inch ribbon. It's pretty. It has a nice sheen to it. Very flat. Here's a tiny one with 1/2-inch ribbon. This one was filling my bad word jar. This is even smaller and not for the faint of heart. And this one is beautiful. This one is like an organza ribbon. I don't know whether you can see that it's see-through. It's translucent. You can see the other colors underneath it. Just beautiful. Now the interesting part comes when I want to make it with fabric. Fabric brings with it a whole bunch of other issues. Here we want to keep the face of the fabric, the right side, visible on both sides of the strips. So we have to fold the, in this case, 12 by like 2.5-inch strip as if you were making a double fold bias. So you fold it down the center, then meet the edge to the center, just like a regular bias fold tape. Now see how that wide fabric turned into a short, narrow strip. Now they're very thick. It's not thin like paper. Now here again, I'm folding them in half and I'm pressing it today. The iron is your best friend for something like this. It really helped me keep control of the fabric. I found some beautiful fabric with star patterns. I have had them in a bin. I didn't even know I had them. There's so many. Now here's that square. Instead of gluing, I'm using the clips just to give me a little bit of control. Now we alternate and folding the strips over. Now here we got to lock it in. So we have to go and close that yellow fabric under the red one. So I went back just to show you. Now I have these hemostats left over from the 1960s. Never mind. So you continue again, you make the 45-degree folds, you look for the slot, the little slit. That's where you're going to tuck the raw edge of that fabric strip into the red slit to hide it. You want to hide the raw edges. Now you understand by folding it like a binding, double fold binding tape, you get to see the face of the fabric, the right side of the fabric, on both sides of the strip. Here again, I'm cutting just to make it easier to get that strip through. There we are. And this becomes easy. Little bit of dexterity is necessary. You have to control. You have to control the fabric. There was a television sewist, fashion designer named George W. Trippon in the 1970s and 80s on public television. And he had a whole bunch of slogans, but one was control your fabric, control your fabric. Another was trim as you sew, trim as you sew. And another one was pin where the stitching takes place. And I remember all of them, and they've helped a lot. To see how long, there's a lot of wasted fabric, but it made it easier in the long run because I didn't have to measure so exactly. And as any good crafter, I'll have a lot of use for those spare pieces. You have to excuse my hoarse voice. The allergies are awful, absolutely awful this year. Look at how pretty this is turning out. Now think of them for all the uses: ornaments, brooches, lapel pins, so many. But my decision was to go back to my actual crafting love, making a handbag and using the star to embellish it. Here I'm making a fairly standard square bottom tote, and you fold the bottom of the bag into a point at the corner, and that will become the square corner. These are fun to make. They whip up pretty quickly. This one is very, very simple. I haven't decided on a closure as yet. I'm thinking of making a couple of more stars and using them as more embellishments on the tote, but using one to hide a button of some sort. We'll see how that turns out. Now here's the bag coming into its own. Here's the lining, putting a very simple pocket in. Isn't the fabric beautiful? I had this. I didn't know I have it. I have these bins with fabric in it. So you sew around it. That's a lined pocket, by the way. And you can see I put interfacing to give the bag some body. You have to put the square box corner on the lining as well to make it fit. And the lining is a slight bit smaller. You see I put a hole. I left one of the sides open of the lining so that I could pull the bag right side out when it's sewn together. Now, here, right sides to right side inside the bag. That's so we can have a nice tailored top edge. A lot of pinning, match up seams, find the halfway point. Really nice. Now comes the hard part. We have to berth the bag through that little tiny hole. I have to pull the rest of the bag through, and I'm not very good at leaving the slit big enough, so it does struggle. I find it a struggle. Now we've got it almost home. We sew up the opening where we turned it out. Make sure everything is in tight where it's supposed to be. I will top stitch the top to make it very tailored. And there's a simple tote. Well, one of the bloopers is you must hit start recording. So I'm redoing some of this. Here's the finished bag. I'm very pleased with it. It's a very simple tote. It has a box bottom, a pocket, and it has this wonderful embellishment on it. A fabric Scandinavian Star. It has some body to it. It's fairly thick as well. I put one on either side. It does need a few more, and I think I'll do just that. I don't know whether I'll use something like this. Ooh, this is that organza ribbon. We'll see. This is that beautiful gold shaded ribbon. This one I like, but look at how that will set it off. Yeah, I hope you enjoy this. This wasn't a tutorial. It was more of a demonstration of how I met the challenge. There's some flops within the video, which I won't point out. You can pick them out. And I enjoyed this. Thank you for sticking with me to the end. Thank you for following the video hop, the 4th Art Saturday video hop, organized by Meridel Abrams. Please follow the artists and crafts people who are in the list on the description below, and see what talents there are out there in the crafting world. So, as always, until next time, stay smart, stay well, stay safe, and do something today to make you put a smile on your face. Thanks again. Bye for now.